The auditorium was overflowing with parents, cameras, flowers, and nervous smiles, but one little girl sat alone in the front row, small, fragile, legs unmoving in her wheelchair. Her hands trembled around a wrinkled paper program she had folded and unfolded 100 times. 9-year-old Mia Rivera had no one sitting beside her, no one cheering her name, no one to clap when she rolled across the stage. Her mother had passed away 2 years ago. Her father had left long before that, and she had spent the last few years living with an elderly aunt who could barely walk, let alone attend a school graduation. She kept trying to smile, but each time she heard another kid squeal, "There's my mom," or "Daddy, look," something inside her cracked a little more. Behind her, parents chatted, snapped photos, fixed their kids' hair. Mia kept her eyes on the front, trying not to cry. She didn't want pity, not on her graduation day. But the truth was simple and painful. She had no one, not one person coming for her. Until the doors at the back of the gym opened. A man stood there, breathless, dust on his jeans, still wearing the uniform he had on after rushing straight from his job at the mechanic shop. His dark hair was messy, his hands covered in grease he hadn't washed off properly, and his eyes scanned the room like he was searching for a missing piece of himself. His name was Daniel Hayes, a struggling single dad who volunteered at Mia's school whenever he could, fixing squeaky doors, replacing broken lights, repairing wheelchairs that the school didn't have the budget to fix. He had noticed Mia months ago, quiet, polite, always wheeling herself to class without asking for help, always saying she was fine, even when she clearly was. His own daughter, Emma, had become her closest friend. And somehow, slowly, quietly, Mia had become family. When Emma told him, "Dad, Mia doesn't have anyone coming," something inside him broke. He ran out of work early. He didn't even lock up the garage. He just grabbed the flowers he kept at the counter for customers and drove like a man racing time. And now he was here. The teacher whispered, "Students, please take your seats." Mia lowered her head. Then she heard footsteps, a familiar pair. She didn't dare turn around at first. She couldn't handle it if she was wrong. But then she felt a warm hand on her shoulder. "Mia," he said, voice soft. She froze. Slowly she looked up. Daniel stood there holding a bouquet of wildflowers tied together with a piece of blue ribbon, the only ribbon he could find in the shop. Her lips trembled. You came." He knelt beside her wheelchair, his face gentle, eyes full of something she hadn't seen directed at her in a very long time. Love. Real, fatherly love. "I wouldn't miss your big day for anything," he said. Her eyes filled instantly. The kids noticed. The parents noticed. But Mia didn't care. She lifted her shaking hands and tugged lightly at his sleeve. Then, with a small, hopeful, painfully fragile voice, she whispered, "Mr. Hayes, do you think you could maybe be my dad today, just for the ceremony?" The world seemed to stop. Daniel's breath caught in his chest. He wasn't a man who cried easily. But something about her tiny voice, her trembling lip, that plea, soaked in years of loneliness, crushed him. He swallowed hard. Then he reached forward, gently brushing a tear from her cheek with his thumb. "Mia," he whispered, "I would be honored to be your dad, not just today but any day you'll have me." Her eyes widened. He didn't say it as a joke. He didn't say it to make her feel better. He said it like a man who meant every syllable. The ceremony began. And Daniel sat right beside her, clapping louder than anyone whenever her name appeared on the screen during the slideshow. When it was time for the graduates to go on stage, he rolled her wheelchair to the ramp himself. Halfway up, she looked back at him nervously. He smiled. "I'm right here, I'm not going anywhere." She nodded and wheeled herself across the stage. Just as the principal called out, "Mia Rivera," Daniel stood and clapped, slow, powerful, deliberate. Soon the entire auditorium followed, giving her the loudest applause of the day. But the moment that changed everything came after the ceremony, when the crowd spilled outside and families hugged their kids. Mia looked at him with a courage she didn't know she had. "Do you?" She hesitated, twisting her fingers. "Do you think maybe I could come home with you and Emma just for today?" Daniel didn't answer at first. Instead, he knelt beside her, took both of her hands gently and said, "Mia, I don't want you to come home for one day." He took a shaky breath. "I want you to come home forever, if you'll let me." She gasped. "No more empty chairs at ceremonies," he whispered. "No more waiting alone. No more going to sleep scared or sad. You deserve a family, sweetheart, and we'd be lucky if you chose us." For a long moment she couldn't speak. Then her small face crumpled with relief. "Daddy," she whispered. He broke completely. He wrapped his arms around her while she sobbed into his shoulder, her tiny frame trembling with years of pain finally releasing. Emma ran over and hugged her too, shouting, "I always wanted a sister." People around them wiped their eyes. And in that sunlit parking lot, surrounded by flowers and graduation caps, a little girl who had once believed she had no one found everything she had ever prayed for. A family, a home, a father who chose her. And Daniel Hayes, grease-stained, exhausted, imperfect, became the hero she had been waiting her whole life to love.